Dan Lloyd here with another leadership lesson on location from Athens, Greece. And the leadership lesson today, or for this segment, is leadership navigates the gray areas. You can see just over my shoulder right here, this area was the ancient meat market in Athens, not to be confused with the Corinth, which is a different kind of meat market. We're not going to go there. And so the challenge here in Corinth was the meat that you bought at the market, 99% of it had already been dedicated to an idol or to a false god. And the majority of the people who converted to Christianity here in Corinth used to sacrifice meat to idols. And then when they were converted to Christianity, they realized, as Paul said, there are no such things as an idol. It's just, fictional, just made up. And we stay away from that, of course. Well, those who converted to Christianity, some were saying you cannot eat meat sacrificed to idols because you're still participating in idol worship. And others were saying, no, we've been freed from that. We have complete freedom to eat whatever we want, even meat sacrificed to idols. And so there was a rift in the early church over this practice in the freedom that we have or we don't have. Today we would call that legalism. My wife, for example, grew up in a church where they said it was a sin to go to a bowling alley because people at the bowling alley smoke. Doesn't mean that you're going to be smoking, but you don't want to be around people who smoke. I can't find any scripture about that, but it's a boundary, a man-made boundary to prevent people from being tempted, I suppose, to smoke. When I first enrolled in Bible college, part of the application process was that I had to promise that I would not go to movies when I attended school. And I asked the representative from the school who traveled to my house to talk to me about this answer I gave, because I said, I'm not going to give that up. She came to my house from a state away to have a conversation with me about it. She said, you can't do that because somebody might see you at the theater and think that maybe you're watching an inappropriate movie. And my response to her was, well, if people at your school aren't supposed to go to movies, why would somebody at the school see me at the movies? And anyway, I laid down that right. I had the right to go to movies, but I laid it down for the sake of those that I was going to be going to school with. So the point is this. There are gray areas, and a leader knows how to navigate those. We have to be sensitive to layers of education or training or cultural pressure, conditioning, whatever it might be, and realize that even if you and I have freedom to do some things as leaders, those under our leadership may not have that same freedom. So we need to be sensitive to not offend the weaker brother or sister or the one who is not as mature and strong in the faith and have the kind of freedom that you and I have. So I'm just going to challenge you to do this. Lay down your rights. Lay down what you have the freedom to do for the sake of those who are still growing in their faith and need to become stronger. So leadership lesson on location here from Corinth, Greece is leaders know how to navigate the gray areas. All right, Dan Lloyd signing off. Thanks for watching.